Welcome to the Flymen Fishing Show, where we talk fly fishing, fly tying, and everything in between. I'm your host, Scotty Davis. Thanks for joining us today. We have lucky guest, Luciano Alba, Lucho. He is a fantastic photographer and the owner of two Argentinian lodges, the Estancia Laguna Verde, as well as the Golden Dorado River Cruiser, which is highly intriguing to me. How you doing today?
Doing good.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'm good, man. Got off a little early, so I'm at home today instead of the office, which is kind of weird.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. Did you fish this morning?
No, we are off season now. Unfortunately, I'm missing it a lot.
Yeah. When does that start back up for you?
So we start at Laguna Verde early October, and Dorado Cruiser, although it's almost a year-round season, usually we start at September fishing.
Nice.
Yeah.
So the Estancia Laguna Verde started first, right?
No, it starts first the Dorado Cruiser. We start earlier, yeah. La Estancia Laguna Verde, is in south of Argentina, in Patagonia, and their season starts either October or November, depending on the area. So there we start early October.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So how did you start? How did that whole Dorado River Cruiser, how did that all start?
Well, we started with Laguna Verde first. Started Laguna Verde, and then we always loved with my father fishing for golden dorado. And we always thought, okay, it would be awesome to have a fishing operation for dorado, dorado. And we started thinking ideas, and we thought that a moving operation would be much better than a lodge in one place. And so we started throwing brainstorming, and finally came up with the idea of buying this old boat, a catamaran. And so we completely refurnish and recycle everything and adapt it to fly fishing needs. And we started looking for the area, and so it took us a while, but we are very happy on how it's going.
Yeah, that sounds like a dream. That boat is amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really something that we will like a lot. And yeah, Dorado, I was raised a trout fisherman, but golden Dorado are a close second there. Yeah, it's a fantastic fish, and yeah, being able to move makes it really good.
So how long did it take you guys to restore the boat?
It took us about 1 year. 1 year. Yeah, we thought that it was going to be faster, but with construction, I don't know how it is in the US. In Argentina, if you plan on 6 months, it takes about double the time you estimate it. Yeah.
And if you plan on $1,000, it's going to be $2,000.
Absolutely true. Yeah, exactly the same. Yeah.
So the trout fishing lodge actually started first.
Yes. We started there. Yeah, it was a few coincidences. With I met some guys in the north of Patagonia, and then they told me they went to fish in a place called Jurassic Lake. So at that time, I didn't know what it was. Finally, with my father, I find out where it was and went there. And, we went to, in a way, fish and know the place. And on the way out, we were talking with the owner about buying the estancia, the property of one of the ranches there. And so we finally ended up buying one of the estancias and started with our first lodge, which was fantastic. In a way, a life-changing business idea. Yeah,
I'm sure it's pretty well known in the U.S. I know a lot of the bigger groups like Yellow Dog, they promote it pretty well. So it's pretty much everybody I know's bucket list. The place looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a very, very special place. Of course, big fish. Very big rainbow trout. But for me, that I get to be there a lot of time. Besides, the big fish, for me, it's a special place in many other ways. It's a high plateau, rather a desert area, high plateau, but very special. With a lot of I call it raw beauty. It's beautiful but raw at the same time. Sometimes very windy and harsh, but very, very special place. The water is very clear, so in a way, it's trout fishing, but reminds you a lot of fishing for salt water in the Caribbean, or lots of sight fishing. So I think it's a special fishery. Besides, of course, big rainbows.
Right. How do they get so big? What are they eating in that place?
So there, the main food sources are number one, by far, it's scuds. Scuds are the number one, which is a crustacean, right? And then you have copepods, which is like a smaller scud. And then the third important one is Daphnias, which is a microorganism. So those three are of the crustacean family are the most important ones. So if you take a food samples from the stomach of a fish, you will find thousands of those. And then you have snails, also important. But by far the three most important are those three that, that's why they get so big. And also the water, the temperature, and the clarity of the water and the pH makes it very good for them.
Is it river fed, or is it landlocked, or is there a river flowing through it?
It's landlocked. And you have a river coming in, but nothing going out.
Oh, gotcha. You all fish the rivers as well, or do you focus mainly on the lake?
You have Barrancosso River. It's the only tributary of Trouble Lake, and you have it's a rather small stream. It's a lake that has doesn't have an outlet, has only an inlet, Barrancosso River, which is really good fishing, especially in early and late season. Because it has two runs of fish. It has a run in spring, which is for us, spring will be September, October, November, and some in December. And then you have the second run that happens in mid to late March, all the way into April. So we finish the season there April 30. So it's very good till the end of the season.
And that's why. How deep is that lake?
The lake has about 90 meters deep, what it was measured. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I guess that's how a lot of the pictures I've seen here is the fish are like chrome bright, almost like steelhead.
Yes, because of that, quantity of food sources. All the crustaceans have a lot of carotene, so lots of protein there. You have those very bright fish that very, very strong. In my opinion, they are maybe some of the most strongest freshwater fish you can find out there. We've seen amazing things like hooks that are straightened, lines that break, and all sorts of things that happen with those fish.
Yeah, bring good gear.
Yeah, that's so very important to have very strong hooks. Check your tippet once in a while. Usually tend to use more fluorocarbon than mono, because especially the rocks there are very very sharp. So many times the fish take you into the rocks, and if it is a good fish, most probably it's going to catch your line. So if you have fluorocarbon, usually your chances are better. We use like 20-pound tippet usually. Fluorocarbon, that's ideal.
20 pound?
20 pound test leader. That's pretty thick, but big fish still take you into the rocks, and they can catch your line with very, very easily.
Plus, it's not like a Western River here where they see 4,000 flies a day.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Sometimes when it gets very glassy, very, very, very quiet. Mm-hmm. You need to go a little thinner. But in a way it's a game you're playing. Maybe you hook more fish, but you don't land so many. So you have to choose your battles in a way.
Yeah. You fish streamers for them too, or do you traditionally stick to this little scud patterns?
Well, scud patterns are very effective, but we fish streamers. And lately we have been using a lot of balance leeches that are really, really effective. We started seeing those from different anglers that came to fish. Anglers that were fishing Pyramid Lake, for example, and then some anglers from Canada. Like Phil Rowley. A very, very important stillwater angler, and he also was using all those patterns. And so we learned about those, and we are using those with very good results. And then small limbs are very effective, like classics like Fish and Tails and Copper Jones. Those are effective. And then one other ones we use rather medium to big size dry flies, like especially Chernobyl land and Chavi Chernobyl. And for example, one I like a lot, the parachute Madam X, also a very effective dry fly. So sometimes you are fishing a big dry and a dropper with a scad or a nymph. That can be effective, especially if it's calm.
Yeah. So you said the lake gets real windy, so you're predominantly fishing from shore. Do you take boats, or do you mainly wade in the banks?
We wade in the banks. It's important. Fishing in those moments when it's windy. Well, luckily we have many bays in our property, so you go to the protected places when it's windy, and when it's not, you go into more open spots. But usually it's all wade fishing. Yeah, we move with trucks to the different spots and wade there and walk the shorelines. Many times you are fishing from outside the water. You don't wade deep. Usually the fish cruise rather close to shore.
That's awesome. How many guests do you have at the Estancia at a time?
So we have a maximum of 12 per week.
That's awesome. Do you know how many miles of shoreline the lake is?
I'm sorry?
How big is the lake in that area?
The lake is about 65 square kilometers. I don't know in miles. How we should do the math.
Metric guys.
Yeah.
About
65 square kilometers. Yeah.
130.
It's pretty big. Yeah.
40, something like that. Yeah, that's huge.
Yes.
That's great, man. So when does you said that season will pick up for you in October? That's when the guests start coming?
Yes. October, early October, and we finished April 30. And so you have those first 3 months of the season are, of course you fish the lake, but also Barrancosso River gets fished a lot. And then we have at the Estancia 12 other smaller lakes in the Estancia that are also, different action. So lots of variety in the fishing.
That's incredible. Are you from that area of Argentina?
No, I'm from the middle of Argentina. I'm from La Pampa. No, it's where I'm at the moment. It's in the center of Argentina, and so here we don't have much water here. It's quite dry. But all my life since a kid, I've been going to Patagonia, and since little kid, my father taught me to fly fish, and been fishing all my life.
Did you grow up fly fishing, or did you start with a can of worms like most of us?
Yeah, I started with in my case it was like a spoon, some little bit of bait fishing, but mostly it was a spoon. But I wasn't liking it a lot, and then when my father gave me a fly rod, I completely got totally hooked. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was awesome. Yeah. So I told my father, why didn't give me a fly rod earlier? I said, well, because I only had one. He said, yeah, because at the moment when my father taught me to fly fish, it was in the 80s. It was difficult to get fly rods here in Argentina, so he had only one, and he had to be careful not to break it.
Yeah, there's an Argentinian reel company, right? STH, I believe.
Yes.
Still around?
No, I think that so it was, I think in the 90s, and they invented those cassette systems. Instead of having a spool, it was a cassette, so it was cheaper than a spool, and they made good reels. But after a while, I don't know if they closed or they sold the company. But they are not coming out again, not coming out anymore. The STH, they are nice reels.
Yeah, they're very nice. A lot of people tried that cassette system and never really got it right. But that company, their engineering was there, and the thought process was there. Did they make tying vices as well?
Yes,
they did.
Yeah, they started with those. They started with making those, and my father has one of the first ever vices.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was amazing.
The son.
Yeah, the son of the guy that was doing the STH reels. He's a fishing guy in the north of Patagonia, and a very nice guy. And his father, I don't remember if he sold the company or just closed it, but it was a shame because they really made awesome engineering things,
Yeah. So do a lot of your guests at the Trout Lodge, do they add on the Golden Dorado trip, or is it just separate clients?
Yeah, when we started, we thought it was going to be a lot more of those add-on programs. But then the Dorado cruiser kind of like caught, different crowds sometimes, from the trout fishing. And so, yeah, we do have a good share of combined trips, but we have a lot of clients that are doing only one or the other. And so it was, in a way, a nice surprise that we had started having many groups that were just coming for the Dorado cruiser and became repeat clients of the Dorado cruiser. Well, I guess because of the style of fishing they like and other things, But it was a nice surprise.
I think my head would explode if I had to decide on which place to go.
Yeah, I was raised, like I was saying, a trout fisherman first, but Dorado is getting closer and closer to trout fishing. They are awesome. Yeah, you need to come.
They're monsters.
Do it.
They're monsters. I'm scared of those things.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are really aggressive. They are at the top of the food chain. In terms of fish in the system. So anything that comes by, even including their smaller brothers and sisters, they will smash it. So it's not uncommon to see, like you catch a Dorado, you see the tail, all chewed up by the other Dorado,
That's what's doing it. The other ones?
Yes.
Jockeying for position.
Yeah, or if you catch a small one, sometimes you end up with half a Dorado because other one took a bite.
So where you're fishing is much different than the like the jungle style. You're more of a marsh fishery. It very much reminds me of like a redfish flat with like tons of current going through it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, beautiful. In a way, yeah, it's a big, huge delta where we are located. Now it's the second biggest after the Amazon, and it has many different type of waters in the delta. You have the bigger channels of it's the Paraná River. Paraná River system is a very, very big river, huge river. And so all this delta has thousands of small lagoons and inlets and outlets of those lagoons. So you have a lot of those small creeks and channels. And depending on the water height and different, the wind and many other things, you may have water coming in or out of those lagoons. And the same goes for, the bigger. So most times, Dorado look for moving water. So the guide, that's one of the key things, is to know where you have more of those places with moving water. And then, well, sometimes that's why I like a lot the variety of the fishery there. It's very special in my opinion.
So besides Dorado, what are you guys catching?
So you catch there, you have a relative of the vampire fish you can find in Colombia and Venezuela. So we call it also vampire fish, and in Spanish you call it chafalote. But it looking the same, the teeth that go inside, and they're not as big as the ones you can catch in Colombia, for example, that they call payara there, but they are great sport. That's my second favorite there. And then you have a lot of wolfish, especially in lagoons. You have lots of wolfish that they are fun to catch on poppers. So the Flymen fishing company, the poppers, the double barrels are my favorite for the time, for poppers for the wolfish and Dorado. And then you have big catfish. You have yellow catfish, also good to catch on flies.
Awesome. So when is that south of where you are now?
No, it's northeast. So at the moment, La Pampa will be in the center, very much in the center of Argentina. And so our lodge in Patagonia is way down south, at the very south of the continent of Argentina. And then the Dorado cruising and all this delta would be northeast from where I'm, which is very close to the border with Uruguay and Paraguay countries, neighbor of Argentina.
Gotcha. So, and the river borders Argentina, right? It's a border river?
No, the Paraná River is not a border where we are. It is upper in the river, but where we are, it's not. Gotcha. So in our case, other province is we are actually moving in between two provinces at the delta. It's the border between two provinces. But so it's a very, very big delta that changes in a way a lot depending on the water height.
Gotcha. And how many guests do you take on the boat?
The cruiser can take 9. So it has 9 guests, which has 4 double bedrooms and 1 single room. And we all with ensuite bathrooms. So you have all the rooms in the lower deck, and then in the upper, you have all the like the living and dining room, and you have like a deck to have some drinks outside, and then you have an upper deck which is like a solarium and a place to chill out, and some guys they smoke usually up there.
Drink your wine too.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
That's cool. So does the boat travel at night? Or do you,
well,
if you're in a good area, you'll stay there, but
yeah, exactly. It's not like it has, I've been fishing in some places like in Cuba or Brazil that, the mothership has like a preset route, so you kind of like you do a preset plan. In this case, we are always moving according to the fishing. So like you said, it might happen that things are going well in one place, so you stay there. As the saying goes, never leave fish to find fish, right?
That's so well worldwide.
Yes. So well, if it is going well, we may stay maybe 2-3 days in one spot, and according to the fishing, we still move to other places, but the boat always stays in fishing locations, and we do the transfer with a big tracker, a big boat that we do the transfers in and out of the cruiser, to land, to do the transfers to the guests that are coming in or out.
Yeah, that looks amazing.
Yeah, you need to come check it out.
I'm gonna have to, really.
Yeah.
So is it, obviously topwater is preferred for myself and most people. Is that a kind of during the whole season? Is poppers a viable thing, or is it early morning, late, or?
So Dorado and the other species are warm water fish, and so they tend to like the warmer temperatures. So for example, the closer you are to our spring and summer and early autumn, that's the better chances you have to catch on poppers any of those fish. And depending, for example, during spring and autumn, which is cooler at night, sometimes popper action tends to happen more during high sun moments, while the summer, the opposite. You have more action at the earlier and sorry. Do you see me there?
Yep.
There. Sorry, I got disconnected for a second. And so the action happens in the summer, which is warmer, earlier and later in the day. Especially the last hour of the day. As they call it, the magic hour. When usually very fast action in that couple last hours of as the sun is coming down. That's usually very good to fish in the summer with poppers. That one of my favorite.
Do you have to use wire? Obviously you have to use wire, but what pound? Like
usually 30 or 40 pound test wire. Yeah, 7 by 7 strands. So yeah, if you better to have any of the main brands are good to make a good knot. You make an open loop knot, so you have more action in the fly.
Yeah, you using 8 weights?
Yeah, 8 weight is in a way a classic rod for Dorado, but sometimes you can use a 7. Some other anglers use a 9 weight, but yeah, I would go with an 8 or a 7. That would be my choice always.
That's great. And that season runs about the same time. You said that'll stop for you in about April?
Yeah, so it starts in September, which is our spring, and goes all the way later, maybe May or even June. Is really good for fishing, which is our autumn, and fishing can be really good there. That's one of my favorites.
What did the Dorado do in the wintertime? Did they back out of the river system, or just slow down?
So being in such a big delta, you have several migrations of different bait fish that come in and out according to the seasons and according also to the water height. For example, you have certain bait fish that migrate before the summer. So Dorado they're following always the food, right? So sometimes you will find those more like as you're coming out of the winter, Dorado tend to go into the bigger waters, because they go deep and they are warmer, I guess. And as water starts to warm up in the smaller lakes and different, Dorado started following the bait fish that go inside the different smaller systems. So that's when you are seeing lots of, for example, the main food source of the Dorado is sabalo. Sabalo maybe could go up to 2-3 pounds the most. It's a very silvery fish, and so that's one of the main food sources for Dorado. But then you have smaller ones like sardines. For example, sardines usually tend to move in autumn. So if you hit it right with those migrations, sometimes you are watching the river and you see the water boiling all over. You see those hunts, as we call them. That's a Dorado killing something. It's an interesting, a very special show to watch, of nature.
Yeah, it looks like somebody's dropping rocks out of airplanes.
Yes.
That's great. So how do you decide what you're going to do? Do you run the boat? Do you have a captain that runs it, or do you go down and do it yourself?
No, we have a captain, is in charge of the mothership. So the program runs, every week, and in my case, depending on, the different groups that are going, sometimes, over the years, you become friends with a group of anglers, or sometimes with an agent or a host that goes with anglers. So over the years, you develop those special friendships, and I like to be there when those friends go, and also enjoy being there a lot. So, and the same goes for Estancia Laguna Verde. It happens the same. My wife is not that happy with that, but every chance I get, I take off, and same goes for my father.
Nice. Sounds a lot like my wife.
Yeah, it's that's
like, go until she doesn't.
Exactly. There's only one boss at home. Yeah.
Yeah. So your pictures are amazing. How long have you been into photography?
Well, it started as my father liked photography, and so since I was a kid, I had a camera, close by to experiment and do photography. And then in high school, we had it as which is not common in Argentina, but we had a class in high school that they gave us photography lessons as one of the subjects we had, which was great. And then I started living in Buenos Aires, for university, and there, I was doing some different courses and classes, and then, when I started more into the fishing business, started seeing a lot of those, famous photographers that, luckily we got to see more and more, and so, many photographers like Val Atkinson and Brian Keefe and Barry and Kathy Beck and so on. So I like to watch them, how they worked, and steal a few tricks or advice from them. So in a way, help me work on my photography and try to learn. So I enjoy it almost as much as fishing. It's many times when I'm at Laguna Verde or at the cruiser, I find myself doing more photos than fishing, or making a 50-50, and which is I enjoy both. In a way, it's nice way to be outside and watching what happens, and something I enjoy a lot.
Yeah, me too. You mentioned Brian O'Keefe. That guy's a wild man. He comes up there and fishes with you, or down there.
He came once, some years ago, and once in a while we exchange some emails, and great angler and great caster, and also amazing photographer. And so he was really, really kind. I remember the time he came to Estancia Laguna Verde, he did a couple of nights like a special presentation. So he showed us in the big screen, photos of him, and he explained what he had tried to do, and so it was great because he gave us like the backstage of his famous photos, and many of those famous photos he's been doing all over the world. And so it was, a great guy. I enjoyed his visit a lot.
Yeah, that's got to help you promote the lodge, both lodges, really having those such amazing photos like that. I'm kind of jealous. I didn't really get into it when I started guiding. I was like, well, I got to learn how to take pictures, and just went overboard with it. Started buying all this crap and to really learn how to use it. So I've just backed out and went back to the old cell phone.
Yeah, and nowadays, cell phones are doing better and better photos. So it's going with all that gear. Yeah, sometimes not that necessary. Yeah. But it's still, it's nice to take the camera always, just in case.
Yeah, for sure. Well, man, you're between two paradises. Where the hell does a guy like you go on vacation?
Usually it involves fishing. Yeah, somewhere else, but fishing. Yeah, I like to go fishing sometimes to Mexico with my father. When we started with the fishing lodges with my father, we thought that it was going to help us, learn and improve, to go fish other places. In a way to compare or learn. There's always someone that is doing something way better than you, and so in a way also exchange experiences with other lodge owner. So it was a great from the fishing perspective, but also as a lodge owners, it was great. And now, unluckily, with the pandemic, not possible to travel much lately for us in Argentina. But looking forward, we have a trip postponed to Mexico, for example. That's one of my favorite. Fishing, trying to fish for trying, not always succeeding for permit. So any chance we get to go outside and fish other locations, we do it.
Did COVID hit? Did it shut down your operation last year entirely?
Yeah. So as COVID hit, it was mid of March 2020. So everything was shut down here, and was a really long lockdown. And we were able to start working again in Patagonia in mid-January, but only for Argentine anglers. And the Dorado cruiser, the same. So it's been rather struggling, over these months. And so this season is looking to a little better. We will be able to start at least mid-October, but it's still uncertain what will happen with the foreign clients. We have many clients booked, but not clear if they will be able to come, because our borders are still closed. So we are pushing a lot to the authorities to have a clear date when it will open, because all the people in Argentina working with international tourism, we need this to get started. It's a really, in our case, we have a decent financial position, and we, in a way, we are lucky. We own the places, and so in a way we are not paying any lease. But for someone that, for example, was leasing a property or a hotel or anything like that, that's been for many people completely out of the business or bankrupt. So it's been really, really tough on the international tourism or tourism in general, I guess. In Argentina, it's been very bad.
Yeah, well, hopefully that improves. Seems like the mothership is the ultimate definition of social distancing, though. When you get on that thing, you're fine. That's where I think I'd ride out the apocalypse on that thing.
Absolutely, yeah. It's in Argentina, things are not always work the way they should, and planning not one of those things that happen often. And we've been asking to the authorities that even if they want to be careful but to put a date, we will. So because international tourism needs planning, needs time. No one that's going to do an international trip decides in a few weeks. It takes months or even a year sometimes ahead. So the less clarity you have on opening dates, the worst for the tourism industry of Argentina.
Yeah, that's a bad deal globally. Just pray that improves quickly.
Absolutely,
yeah. Well, you gonna fish this afternoon, or are you done for the day?
Yeah, I'm done for the day. I'm usually the cook at home, so I need to go. I'm going to be cooking something tonight. Don't know what, but yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for taking time and talking with us today. And
thanks to you, Scotty. It's a pleasure.
Yes, sir. You will see this face on that boat soon. I promise.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very welcome. Yeah, look forward to that.
Great. We'll talk soon. Thanks, Luca.
Okay, bye-bye.
See you.
Bye, Scotty. Bye.